This e-instruction How To training video is going to show you how to use CPS as if you were a first-time user. We're going to take you through how if you click on the CPS icon for the very first time, what screen will appear after you do so, and we're going to walk you through step-by-step of what you should do. We're also going to show you how to create a class for the first time. You will need to go to Start and then click on All Programs. Once going to Start and selecting All Programs, you'll need to find your e-instruction folder and open it. You'll need to select the CPS folder. Once you open the e-instruction folder and then the CPS folder, you'll see that you have the CPS icon, which is the blue circle with an I, with the E as the dot. That is the icon that you'll need to click on. The first time opening CPS on a computer, you'll see that it's going to ask you whether or not you want to create a new CPS database, open an existing or recently used. For training purposes, we're going to go with create a new CPS database. When you decide to create a new database, it's going to ask you where you want to put your new CPS file. Right now mine's going into a GIL CPS folder that I've already previously made, and I'm going to want to change that. So I want to make sure I put my CPS that I'm about to create somewhere that I can find it easily. So what I'm going to do is where it has save in and it's currently saving in the GIL CPS file, I actually want to change that. So to do so, you need to click inside the GIL CPS box. Once you've clicked inside the Save In box, you'll have a drop-down menu appear. And so what I want to do is I want to save my new CPS in my G drive. And now I'm going to go ahead and tell it to save. Every time you log into the CPS database, it's going to give you this message that you have put your CPS database on a remote drive. It doesn't matter how many times you log in, the same screen is always going to pop up. Regardless, always tell it yes. After selecting yes, your database screen will appear. There are three tabs that you're going to see: Prepare, Engage, and Report. Underneath Prepare, you have Classes and Students, which is the first piece that we're going to focus on. We want to create a new class for our training. You will need to select the New button. Underneath that, you will have two options that appear, Class and Student. And again, since we're creating a class first, you'll need to select Class. Once you've selected Class, you have the New Class Wizard. It's going to ask you what type of institution that you're in, and we are K through 12, so you'll want to select the K through 12 bullet and tell it Next. It's going to ask you if you have a username and password for CPS Online. For this particular training, we're going to tell it No, and then select Next. It's going to ask you to enter account information. The only things that are required are the first and last name as well as the email address. That's the only thing that's required. For training purposes, we're just going to type first for first name, last for last name. And then for the email address, we're going to tell it firstlast@gccisd.net. And then select Next. It's going to go ahead and automatically put in your first and last name into the CPS class wizard. And then it's going to ask you for a class name. As far as naming your class periods, I'm usually super creative with that. I always name my classes by, if it's the first period class, they're called first period. You can get fun with it. If you do anything where you have your classes go by mascots or you have a theme that you like to use for the year, you may want to kind of do your class names by that, but you may want to put in parentheses to the side what actual class period it is. For the training purposes, we're going to go ahead and call this first period. Tell it Next. It's going to now be ready to save our information. If we go ahead and click Next, what's going to happen is we cannot go back and change our information. What would happen if you wanted to change something or if you'd entered something incorrectly, you would have to delete the class and start over. So you can go back and change it, but for training purposes, it says, congratulations, your class has been created. Let's say you have multiple class periods. What you could do is check this box right here and create another class. But for training purposes, we're going to go ahead and say we're done.